Okay, we're rolling.
All right, this is an interview at the Best Western Hotel, Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, 23rd of February, 2006, approximately 10:10 a.m. Interviewers are Wayne Clark and Mike Russer. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Alvin J. Wolff, with 2 F's.
Where and when were you born?
1923, January 19th.
Okay.
Were you born here in Buffalo?
Yeah, always.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering service?
I went to and graduated from Buffalo Tech, and then I went to aircraft training schools and so forth.
Now, when did you graduate from Tech? Do you remember? Well, that's okay. The gentleman that just left graduated from Tech.
Oh yeah.
1939, I believe he said.
Yeah.
So.
That was a rough high school. Very complicated, very good.
Now you went, where did you go after that?
Well, I went to work, and then I decided that maybe I should go back to school, and I went to the University of Buffalo, and I stayed there 2 years.
Now you worked at Bell Aircraft?
Yes, I worked at Bell Aircraft. I was an aircraft man. And of course I enlisted in the United States Air Force.
Okay.
What kind of work did you do at Bell?
Huh?
What kind of work did you do?
Engineering.
Oh.
On a drawing board. Lots of mock-ups and so forth. And
do you remember where you were when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was home.
How did you hear about it?
Through the radio.
Do you remember what kind of reaction you had?
I knew that I was going to be in the service. I knew that. And how I got in the service is the draft was in operation, and I decided, well, I'm going to enlist and I'm going to get in the U.S. Air Force. And boy, did I start something then, because I went to schools, and I was in a fighter unit.
Now, what kind of schools did the Air Force send you to?
Well, I graduated from Tech, and Jesus, I can't name the schools. I went to Casey Jones School of Aeronautics. That was one of them, and a multiple of other schools. They didn't give you too many names and so forth. It was wartime, and they wanted to get rid of me and get all the information they could short. I can't blame them.
Now, being that you had a college background, did they want to make you an officer?
I did go to the University of Buffalo, and I got 2 years in, and that was it. And I decided that maybe I better get in the Air Force and get some good schooling, and I did. And I went to a multiple of engineering schools.
Okay.
Casey Jones and all the mechanical schools.
Now, did you ever fly at all before you went into the service?
Yes, I had one particular case. I was crew chief on one of our lead planes in the squadron, and the pilots were very, very familiar because I was a crew chief, and that was my plane. And he says, "Would you like to go up?" And I said, "Gee," I said, I sure would. I said, "But it's only a single seater." And he says, "We can fix this all up." and so forth. And so I did go up in the P-51. Jesus, it was a thrill, I'll tell you. Those pilots were just absolutely great. But I enjoyed it, and it made me more serious and conscientious in my work. That everything had to be so-so. Because when you once got the airplane, the only time you can do anything is on the ground. And you can't do beams up in the air, not in a fighter aircraft, because the engine's behind you, you know, and it was one of those types.
Now, when you, after the schooling in the Air Force, when you were finally assigned to a unit, what unit were you assigned to?
You got me.
Well, on the form here you said the 380th Fighter.
Yeah,
Okay.
380 Fighter Squadron.
Okay.
And the 363rd Scoob.
Were you assigned to that when you were in the States or when you got to England? Do you recall?
I think it was in England.
Okay. Now, how did you get over to England?
By boat.
Did you go in a convoy or a single ship? Do you recall?
I really can't say. I can't remember.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so you were assigned to this as a crew chief. What did you do as a crew chief?
We did everything to an airplane that you could possibly do. When they come back, shot up and so forth, we had to trace bullets and maintain it on the ground. We had 25-hour inspections, 50-hour inspections, 100-hour inspections, and you were assigned. I was assigned to just one ship. I had the lead ship in our squadron, and
now, were you responsible for maintaining and cleaning the guns when they came back in?
no, we had armorers. And they took care of the guns. I had nothing to do with the guns whatsoever.
Okay.
But we had 50 caliber guns in the wings.
Right.
And I had the pleasure of painting victims that were shot down by my particular outfit.
Now, the airplane that you took care of, did it have a name painted on it or anything?
No, it never said that it was a Mustang. And, well, we had, it's either 26 or 28 in our squadron. And on flights, they always were in groups of 4, and they fly in armament situations, you know, over Europe.
So they escorted the bombers a lot?
Yeah, we did do bomber escort, and that there was a good question.
Now, when they came back, like with bullet holes in them, did you have to put the metal patches on them, or did
we patched them up with fabric?
Oh, with fabric.
And we used special cement. And along with inspections, you had a 25, a 50, 100, right, and so forth, and you got more and more less into the airplane.
Now, mechanically, the P-51, did that have like a Rolls-Royce engine in it?
Yeah, Rolls-Royce Merlin.
That
was the name of the engine. And it was easy to maintain. It's the easiest, I think, of all of them. Allison is one of the worst, but I thought. But
now, did you have to change the spark plugs every so often?
Oh yeah, spark plugs. Now we weren't allowed to bother with the electrical part of it. We had engineers, electrical, and they did all of the fine tuning and so forth and whatnot. I never got into that.
And they replaced like instruments if they were bad
Yeah,
also?
well, not so much instruments. It was the goddamn spark plugs.
Uh-huh.
The spark plugs give us a lot of problem, and Jesus, I handled so many dozens and dozens of them, and install them, and then run the ship on the ground, check out all the different speeds, and everything was good, and then they were all set to fly again.
Would you say that was a major problem with the Mustang, where the spark plugs?
The Mustang was a very fast plane and very maneuverable, and I think it was one of the greatest fighter planes that ever was made. I know I come from Bell Aircraft, and I got into the 39s, and that there was one of the worst airplanes. Tough. Allison engines. Allison's makes everything complicated, but the engines we had were just fantastic.
Now that Rolls-Royce Merlin engine,
Rolls-Royce Merlin, you're right.
now was that, how many cylinders do you remember? Was that like a 12-cylinder or?
I
8-cylinder?
I think 12.
Okay,
I think there was 6 on each side.
okay,
I mean, they got to be balanced that way.
right.
But I was an aircraft man, and of course I got in the Air Force, and incidentally I got medals for Bronze Star and all of this other stuff.
Now when you worked on the aircraft, you got to run it up and sit in the cockpit and...
Oh yeah. Every morning we had to pre-flight the airplane and check it for all different things, for ignition, spark plugs, and whatnot. Spark plugs was a main problem. The tanks were always filled. Just as soon as that plane come on the ground, the tanker was there, and I or my assistants would fill the wing tanks, and we also had belly tanks. They were enormous size. I forget how many gallons, but I think it was in the hundreds. And they used to excavate those and drop them when they used to use them at the start of, or they once started to go over Europe. They would use gasoline out of those so that they could go further and have less weight in case they got attacked by German planes and in dogfights and so forth. They had more of a chance. That's why the 51s were very, very good planes.
Now, did you always have the same pilot flying your aircraft or different pilots?
Most of the time, I had the lead ship in the squadron, and of course when you have 26, our designation was A9, and I had A9A, the very first ship, and I usually had colonels and majors and all the way down the line, even brigadier generals and so forth. But it was a great mechanical experience, and you had a little bit of responsibility to, when you see your planes all lined up, 26 of them ready to go on a mission, one after the other, and yours was the first one up. I don't know. It was just a thrill. I was responsible, and I could have been tagged if something would have happened. I had some shot down, but they parachuted out okay, and we don't know exactly if they never come back to the squadron, not to the same one, but it was good, and I take my hats off to the United States Air Force. They treated us like kings. we were always one step ahead of somebody. And I enjoyed it. And I was in the Air Force for 3 years. I went to all of their schools.
Now, did you, when the front moved, did you move from England to France and so on?
Oh yes, oh yeah, yeah. And they flew us and all of our equipment. And boy, when you speak of toolboxes, we had the toolboxes. They were government furnished. They were stacked. I had everything in there that I wanted when I started something. And I also reminded the pilots that I want to see some swastikas on the side of this here airplane. And by Jesus, we got them after a while.
Now, were you in charge of painting those on the side of the planes, or did someone else do that?
No. The pilot reported that there on his check-in, and they used to tell the painter on A9A and so forth and whatnot, so many swastikas, and then we didn't count the damaged ones, but the ones that were actually shot down, which were German. And it was a great thrill, and you know, you knew that you were doing something, and I was proud with what I was doing, and I did a #1 job, and I got the Bronze Star Medal for all of that there stuff. And
now, you mentioned on this form that we have that the P-51s were also used on photographic missions.
that's right. We had some photo planes, and we did a lot of reconnaissance work. And there, the cameras were mounted in the plane, and they shot through the side of the plane at the ground and so forth. And they brought all those films back, and we used to see those films, what was down there, and had some goddamn good cameras. And they never failed. Never failed.
Now, was there a special group that took care of the cameras? Or?
Oh yes, we had our own cameramen, and they took care of the cameras and the developing and into the final form. And then usually they would call us crew chiefs in, and then they would tell you, well, this here was shot from your plane and so forth, and they went down the line, you know. And this is how they kept track of the number of planes that were knocked down. But we were there to knock them down, and then in the invasion, we were there also for strafing attacks on the beaches and so forth and whatnot, to clear the beaches in southern France, or not southern France, but I should say western France. But it was great. I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I got the Bronze Star Medal for all of my hard work.
Now,
which,
go ahead.
that there's an extra 5 points towards your discharge, you know. And we even got into, some of our crew chiefs even got the silver medal, and which is the one better, you know. But all I got was the Bronze Star.
Now, did you have plenty of parts if you needed parts? Did you have a good technical supply system?
We had a very good supply system. I don't know where the hell they got all the goddamn parts. They had so goddamn many of them. But on an airplane like that, of course, it's a Mustang, and it was made in I think there was a Mustang plant in somewhere around, I think somewhere around west and somewhere in the east. But we didn't know where the planes come from. But we got our nose and back in almost every damn thing that it was possible to fix.
Did you have a lot of technical manuals you had to work with?
Yeah, well, not too many. I went to all of their technical schools, and most of it was verbal, and they didn't want you to take too many notes, you know. But the schooling in the United States Air Force was tops, really tops. And that's why the Air Force paved the way for the invasion. And boy, they did one hell of a job.
Now, when your Mustangs flew close air support, what was the maximum size bomb they could carry?
Well, we never carried over 500 pounds. One 500, and that there was located in the center of the ship, because you couldn't put too much
on the wings.
weights on the wings, you know, and so, and then our machine guns were used quite properly, and that was in hand-to-hand fighting, you know, or strafing or whatnot.
Right, right.
But the Mustang was a great ship.
Now, you mentioned that your unit helped at the Battle of the Bulge.
Absolutely.
How was that involved at the Battle of the Bulge?
Pretty good. We were told that we're going to have to work nights and all kinds of things like that. And as soon as the plane landed, we had to go to work on it and get it ready for the next mission. Because God knows when that next mission was going to come. And the Americans, our forces on the ground covered a hell of a lot of territory as far as countryside goes. And for an Air Force outfit, I think we did tops, and we did get the presidential citation. And but
What about the Battle of the Bulge?
oh, that was living hell. One of the worst things that I think I ever was in. You didn't know if we were ever going to get out, because the Germans that's their country. And they could put people wherever the hell they wanted, when they wanted it. But it was great experience. The greatest experience I think I've ever had in all my life was the invasion of Europe, and we took a real active part. And our planes, they were great. And when a plane was shot down and so forth, we got a replacement. And we got that damn replacement almost the same day or the day after and so forth. So we were back at full strength. All of this shuffling from United States over to Europe, I don't know how the hell they got them all over there. Unless they stacked aircraft carriers and just for transportation. But we had no problems with the Mustang. It was one hell of a ship. I know I had, on my plane, I always had the lead plane. Our designation was A9. And then I had, of course, the United States emblem, and then A, the big A on the back.
I gotta ask you.
And then they went B, C, D, and they flew in flights like that. And it made easy to count on the way back how many were lost and so forth. Of course, the pilots helped us out a lot. They told us that they saw this happen and this happen and that this plane go down, and it was one of those, and I was awful proud to be a member of the United States Air Force.
Now, did you have a flight jacket?
No.
No.
I tried to swipe one from a couple of the pilots, you know, but then I would be out of place, you know, and then I thought better, no, you don't do that. You got a good record, and I was very proud of my accomplishments. I really was. I tried everything on that airplane, even experimental stuff. Like the pilots that come up saying, you need this here or you need that. Well, we would try to rig up stuff for the pilots. We worked with the pilots. And they were a great bunch of guys.
What were some of the things you tried to experiment with?
Well, you know, when you're flying at the speed that the Mustang could go, distance didn't mean very much. Getting there, and if we were after a certain town or something, then we concentrate the bomb load. Everybody dropped bombs all over the goddamn town, and that's how we took towns. That's why the infantry had our infantry deserved. They had to do the dirty work.
So your unit flew a lot of close air support then?
Yes, they were very close to air support.
Okay. When did you leave Europe for home?
Oh.
Was the war over when you went home?
The war was over, and then we were transferred, like we were at the German border. We didn't get very far into Germany, but we got a little ways. Well, we were told to withdraw to the borderline, and then they just picked out at random, you know, and squadrons. They tried to ship them back together, but it didn't work out that way. As many as they could put on a boat, God damn it, that's what they did. And I was hoping that none of them we ever went down with all of the load they had. But it was quite an experience, and especially for me coming out of school, I got the Bronze Star Medal and all the other medals, and I have them mounted in my bedroom, and wake up every morning and to see that there, and thank goodness you're not over there. But I mean, the Germans were tough cookies, and don't think they weren't.
Smart.
They were, manpower didn't mean anything, either did firepower. But
after you were discharged, did you use the GI Bill at all?
yes, I went to University of Buffalo. I didn't graduate from UB because the war was over, you know, and I had lost so much wages and so forth. Incidentally, I also used to send money back to the States to my dad and mother to put in a bank account for me because I was an only child. And it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had, and I'll never forget it.
Tell them about the small boat that you. Tell them about the small boat that you came back on.
On the way back, I come back on a Victory ship, and we didn't have the sleeping accommodations, and the storage area we had was a sleeping area, and all we did was use our own equipment and so forth, and we slept on the floor all the way across the Atlantic coming back.
You said it was the size of the Crystal Beach boat.
Yeah, it was very
You
very
might not
similar
know about
to.
that, but
It wasn't much bigger than the Crystal Beach boat. I'm not kidding you, and she's right. It was a thrill. We didn't get into any major storms because that would have raised holy hell. We'd have lost some people. They'd have been washed off the top because everybody wants to get outside and get some air, you know.
Right.
After all, you smell this gunpowder and all this other crap for so damn long, you know. It was good to be coming home and being on a Victory ship. And we had some parties. They they had some beers and so forth, and we earned them. But I think it was the greatest experience of my life.
Did you ever join any veterans organizations after you
Yes,
service?
I belong to Post 1010, which is out in our locality. I was going to join the VFW group,
You did.
and I didn't go to too many meetings because they were on the south end of Buffalo. It was too goddamn far. I'm a Riversider, and I was going to stay in Riverside. After all, I was away from my parents for 3 years, and I had a lot of ground to make up.
He goes to the Kenmore one now.
Okay.
Yeah, we live in Kenmore, and we never got out of Kenmore. We still love it. It's still a great community.
Now, how do you think your time in the service, did it change your life in any way?
Yeah, I grew up overnight. For what I saw, and the injuries and so forth, it made me more religious, and I say it truthfully. If you saw that many men get slaughtered, you'd feel that way too.
Especially in the Battle of the Bulge.
The Battle of
They
the
were
Bulge
infantry at that
was
time,
something
you know.
else.
It couldn't be. They didn't have their planes yet.
Oh, you were put in as infantry in the Battle of the Bulge?
They all were.
We did everything that was possible. Because we were a fighter group and we had good machine gun men and so forth. They were part of it, and then there was a certain amount of us that couldn't operate the machine guns. We would use our carbines, and they still didn't give us them ones, but I had carbine. It was my life weapon. And
So you were engaged in the Battle of the Bulge as an infantryman?
well, in a way,
They didn't
Battle
have
of
the,
the Bulge-
they didn't have the planes there yet,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So how long did you serve in the infantry? Do you recall?
well, I didn't call it was infantry. We still had.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We,
But did you do any fighting at all, or?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the Germans were tough people, and they didn't take no for an answer, and they asked us a lot of peculiar questions, but we didn't give them that many good answers.
Now, did you have plenty of winter gear, boots and overcoats and warm clothing?
They wouldn't give us pistols because that was too short a range, and they didn't expect us to be in that close a range to the enemy. But
You're not answering this question.
Did you have warm clothing to be out in that weather? Did you have boots and a heavy coat and gloves and?
oh yeah, we all had combat boots. When you were over on foreign soil, you had to wear those with your pants tucked in.
But you didn't have the rubber boots or anything.
No. Well, we didn't run into any water. There was no water. I mean, other than rivers and so forth. And the hell, I got a lot of river experience out on the Niagara because I've had my own boat there for years. And I used to musky fish there.
Okay, now, did you bring some pictures and things to show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he brought, to tell you the truth, but I don't know what this is. You want to show, honey? Because I have no idea what you got here.
Yeah. Well, that there.
If you hold this up like this, Wayne can focus on it.
Now, I couldn't get all the medals on there.
So this is a picture of you as you were a sergeant?
Yep.
And now, what is this picture of? Is that getting a medal up there?
Yeah, that there's getting award, I think it was the Bronze Star Medal.
Okay. All right, do you want to explain what the other medals are?
Oh,
That's your Bronze Star
There's a
there.
Bronze Star.
this is the Bronze Star.
Okay,
This is 9th Air Force. This is American campaign. This is the European campaign. God only knows, this is a good conduct medal. I didn't get any black marks at all for getting drunk or anything like that. But these are various battles.
yeah,
And
I
so
think one's a World War
and-
II Victory
Victory
Medal.
medal.
And this here
European
red
service.
rope is from Belgium.
Okay,
They were very appreciative, and everyone in the squadron got the Belgian foregear.
okay.
That's what this is called.
Okay. Did you get that?
Yeah, I just wanted to get that certificate down at the bottom.
May I
Okay,
ask you,
got it.
what are you going to do with all this information?
Well, we could talk when the camera's off.
Oh, okay.
We'll tell you. Could I look at the other
Yeah.
pictures that he brought?
That's from out of my scrapbook.
Now, somebody decorated their planes with a flying tiger.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We're about, oh, down the,
Now, these were all taken in Belgium.
Uh,
I see in the fall of '44.
all of these are from someplace over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know where the hell we were, to be
Okay.
truthful with you. And that's the truth.
Okay, here's an article from the Buffalo newspaper. Here he is here.
Those are articles that my dad saved and so forth, and so when I come home,
okay.
I made,
There's some on the back too. I don't know what that is, but any value.
Now, here he is in Europe, next to a German plane, part of a German plane that was shot down.
oh yeah, they were all over.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see any Mustangs though.
Okay.
Those are articles that my dad had saved for me. Because I wasn't here in the United States. I was with some Riversiders though.
It's interesting that they're decorated like a flying tiger.
Oh yeah.
Now, was that your plane that you were the crew chief?
Yeah.
For that plane?
No.
No, that was someone else's?
Yeah, someone else's.
No, now is that you standing next?
Yeah, this is me. Yeah. This is one of our planes.
Must be a squadron picture there too.
The 380th
Okay.
Fighter Squadron, 363rd Group.
This is money that you had.
Oh,
I had to do this as soon as I got home.
yeah. While you're,
It
it
was
was
the
fresh.
foreign money. This foreign money, holy Christ, you didn't know where the hell you stood.
You didn't know if you were a millionaire or not.
Now, what is this plane? Finis Baby.
Fini.
Fini. Okay, I'm
Finny baby.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is that your plane that you were?
no.
Oh.
I wouldn't put that name on mine.
Okay. And is that him up on top of the engine?
Is this you here?
Yeah, that's me.
Yes.
young version.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Oh, you're entirely welcome.